Hey there, Bakugan fans. Welcome back to Bakumentary, your go-to show for competitive Bakugan Battle Planet news, gameplay, deck profiles, and more. I'm your host, RoboSensei, and on today's episode, we are changing the intro, because meta reports isn't really something we can do, so we're going to be switching that to deck profiles, which is something that I've actually been planning for a while. And today, I have the deck that I used at Anime Expo to bring me good success. I have my Haos Mantonoid Ultra Heroes deck. Haos Mantonoid Ultra, as you may be able to tell, is my favorite Bakugan, favorite mold, favorite faction, and as soon as I saw that this Bakugan was going to get a good Evo, I immediately jumped in on it, and I'm like, okay, I have to build this deck. So I played this at Anime Expo. I won a lot of games with it. I won one of the Saturday tournaments 5-0, and then I went to win my cage match against Gary. He was playing Flaming Fist, good stuff. So let's get into the deck here. We have our 3 Bakugan. First up is Aquos Fangzor, Flaming Fist, 601. Good generic Aquos Bakugan. We use its Evo, which we'll go over later. Draws cards, very good. He's pretty easy, pretty good to roll. He's smooth, he's round. Good flick shot, will just get him on whatever core you need. Then we have Haos Mantonoid Ultra, the star of the show. Magic Shield Fist, 503. Again, we'll go over to Evo later. Pretty good base form, though, having 500 and a Magic Shield. He's a little more interesting to roll. You sort of have to get him closed up and have the head facing, like, down about right. Let's see. Yeah, you have to have him, like, facing about this way, and then, it's basically just a flick roll. Sometimes you might need to put your finger on top and then push him out. But that's just because he's an Ultra and he's got the ridges. And then we have Pyrus Nobilius Ultra, who is one of the strongest Bakugan in the game. Magic Shield Flaming Fist, 502, but on a Magic Shield or Flaming Fist he gets 200B. And that effectively makes him a 702, and plus the 650 on the Magic Shield brings him up to 1350. And paired alongside Aquos Kubo is the second highest B power from a base form in the game, under with its natural cores, that is. So second highest base B power in the game with its natural cores, right under Orla's Hydronoid Ultra, who can hit 1450. This one is also a little interesting. He's got some ridges here, but I don't flick this guy. I usually have to like hold and release. And that brought me success using that method. He's a little tricky to close, though, unfortunately. Moving on to the Baku cores, we have 2 Fists, 2 Flaming Fists, and 2 Magic Shields. We're just going to be running the most optimized version of each core. So for the Fist, we have the plus 150B plus 2 damage. For the Flaming Fist, we have the plus 250B plus 3 damages. And for the Magic Shields, we have the most B power you can get is the plus 650B. Alright, so moving on to the Evos, we have, first up, Aquos Hyper Fangzor. It's a 4 energy card, brings you up from 601 to 1003. Now that's only 6 stat points, and usually 1 energy equals 2 stat points. But the thing is with that, it says when you play this, you draw 3 cards, and that's amazing. That's going to be the first thing we see here in this deck. That's going to be showcase our massive amount of draw power that we have. I was going over the hand limit a lot of the time, and I had to end up discarding cards at the end of my turn because I had more than 7 cards in my hand. Once you've evolved, you can get on the Magic Shield for 1650, get on a Flaming Fist for 1256. That can be a good amount of damage. But mainly we just play this because the drawing is incredibly powerful, and we do play 3 of those. Then moving on to the star of the show, we have Haos Maximus Mantonoid Ultra. It's a 6 energy Evo, it brings you up to 1108 from 503. Don't let the energy cost get you down, because it says if you have 3 or more hero cards in play, you may play this for free. And that is inherently what the deck's engine is built around, is getting heroes out quickly, and being able to play Mantonoid as soon as possible. On a Magic Shield, you're 1758, and that's a pretty big boy on his own. So we play 3 of these because you need to draw into them as soon as possible so you can have it when you have the heroes out. Speaking of those heroes, let's get into them here. We have, first up, a Chaos Hero, 1-cost Shargo Ronin. when you open a Bakugan, it gets plus 100B. And this deck doesn't really have any one-cost actions that boost your B power, because you need space for all these heroes. If you have a Sharga Ronin out, that's an instant plus 100 immediately. It makes Mantonoid base form 600, that makes Nobilius base form effectively 700, and it makes Fangzor base form 700. Or it makes Nobilius 800, I mean. And that's just really good. These stack if you have multiple of them out. If you have 2 out, you get plus 200 per open. If you have 3 out, you get plus 300 per open, which is incredibly powerful. If you re-roll, you get to trigger this again. So if you have 2 out and you roll open, you get 200, and you re-roll, you get 400 total because you opened again. And being able to stack these is pretty amazing. And it's just a cheap hero. You get it out for 1 energy. You can play it on the first turn, and you're basically set. If you have 3 of them out, you're going to be doing pretty good, because we do play a lot of rerolls in here. Moving on to our next hero, we have Aqua Strata. And you may be wondering, why isn't this BR Shun? BR Shun costs 3 energy, and it takes a little while. It's a little slower to get him out. BR Strata only costs 2 energy, and effectively will draw you 1 card per turn. Tapping 2 for Strata on turn 2 is a lot less harsh than tapping 3 for Shun on turn 3. You can do a lot more with this. Well, not really a lot more, but these stacks, if you have 2 of them out, you can draw 2 additional cards per turn. If you have 3 of them out, you're drawing 4 cards at the start of your turn. And your opponent also draws off this, and you may think that's a bad thing. Well, if you look at it the way I do, it's not that bad of a thing, because if they draw an extra card, that means that there's 1 less card in their deck. And that means that you're eventually going to have to deal less damage. And Nobilius only has 2 damage rating. Mantonoid only has 3 damage rating when it's unevolved. Fangzor only has 1 damage rating unevolved. We don't evolve Nobilius, and Fangzor's evolution only goes up to 3 damage. So you're not really going to be dealing that big of hits until you get Haos Mantonoid out. And being able to make them draw extra cards, putting them at less cards left in their deck, that can sort of alleviate your lower damage output. And also just because he's cheaper than Shun, and we're getting heroes out faster, that's part of the deck's goal, we get heroes out fast, that's why I like Strata more than Shun here. And I might do a video on that in the future, on whether or not you want to be playing Strata or Shun in a deck. So we play 3 of those, of course. And then another hero card we play 3 copies of is Dan Kuzo from Battle Brawlers. Possibly the best hero card in the game. 4 cost, when you open a Bakugan, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's not a flip card, you may play it for free. That's amazing. You can tap 4 for this. It's safe to tap 4 for this, I think. And then you can open on something like Haos Mantonoid. You can open on Aqua's Fangzor, draw cards. You can open on Sharga Ronin, get more B for if you have rerolls. You can open onto Riptide, so you can automatically reroll and draw off more off Dan. And yes, moving into the rerolls, you will be activating Dan every time you open. So that means that if you play a reroll card, you get to open again, and that means you get to play another card off Dan. You can get stuff, Wave Slash especially. If you play Dan and then you hit Wave Slash, that's the instant 1000, since you played Dan before Wave Slash. It's better than Air Zero, it stays out during the game, you don't have to play Air Zero every turn, Dan is just permanent. You can cheat this out for 2 energy if you have Super Fuel, or 2 energy total. And it's just, you benefit off of it every turn. If you have multiple Dans out, you're doing multiple of this every turn before your rerolls even. So it's better than Air Zero also because it's a hero and we need heroes in this deck. But just honestly, one of the best heroes in the game. And to abuse our heroes like Dan and Sharga Ronin, we have a nice pool of rerolls here. First up, we have Quickfire, which is a Pyrus action, costs 0 energy. Make a Pyrus attack for 1 damage, and you may reroll your Bakugan. That is an insanely powerful effect for only 0 energy. You make an attack for 1, which means you peck their deck. If they have no cards left in deck and you play Quickfire, you win. Don't lose to that like I did. And you also get to reroll, and that's 2 very strong effects on 1 card for 0 energy. So that just makes Quickfire an amazingly powerful card. I mean, it's kind of worth 1 energy on its own. That it being 0 is amazing, because you get to go into Wave Slash with this on turn 3 if you'd like. And Mantonoid also allows you to play it for free, and that also will let you play a flow card for Wave Slash. If you have 3 heroes out by turn 3 though, I think you're already rocking it though. So we play 3 of those, of course. Then moving on to another card, one of the next strongest rerolls, we have Deep Dive. 1 energy Aquas reroll, draw a card, and you may reroll your Bakugan. That's really good. We used to play, before BR came out, we used to play stuff like Inspire, where you got plus a damage rating and drawing a card. And now we have Deep Dive, where you get to draw a card and reroll, and that's really good. That's a card draw for 1 energy is great. Reroll for 1 energy is great. Having them both be on the same card is amazing. Moving on to what is possibly the strongest action card in the game, we have Super Fuel. 1 energy Pyrus card. You must reroll your Bakugan, okay? If you're playing a reroll card, if you're playing a card that has an optional reroll, you're probably going to be doing it anyway. But if you open on the reroll, the next card you play costs 3 energy less this turn. That's amazing. That lets you play a 4 energy card for a total cost of 2 with Super Fuel. Lets you play a 3 energy card for a total cost of 1 with Super Fuel. 5 for 3, 6 for 4, etc. It lets you play basically 2 turns ahead of how many energy you have. And that's incredibly powerful. You can play Mantonoid for 4 energy if you really need to. You can drop a Dan on turn 2. You can drop an Aquas Hyper Fangzor on turn 2. You can drop a Riptide on turn 2 if you really need to. And it's just amazing. It's an amazingly powerful card. And on top of just being a reroll, being able to play 2 energy ahead of what you have is super strong. And that's why I think Super Fuel is just one of the strongest cards in the game. Yeah, it's one of the best rerolls, one of the best cards in the game. Nothing really else to say about it other than how good it is. Moving on to Light's Courage, our only 2-cost action in this deck. Plus 400B, it's on curve, it's better than, so it means it's better than playing Fire Boost, it's better than playing Ice Wall. Plus 400B, but Domination, if your Bakugan hold the most Baku cores, plus 800B instead. With the strong stuff like Nobilius and Mantonoid, all these have good base forms, especially on a Magic Shield. So you are likely to at least win the first battle, which means you can just lead into the next turn with this. Make sure you keep winning these battles, get a team attack off quicker, so you can reuse Nobilius again. Just 800 for 2, that's double curve, basically. If we equate 1 energy to 2 stat points, and 100B being 1 stat point, you're getting 800 for 2. So yeah, that's effectively double curve. We play 3 of those because of how strong it is. And then we have a card that was kind of situational, but I ended up really liking it. We have Hurricane Winds, which is a 3-cost action for Aquas, plus 300B, and you may play an action card that costs 4 or less from your hand for free. That's a lot of good things that you can play. You can link it into a 1-cost if you want to play like a Super Fuel, or I'd probably play Super Fuel into this. You can link it into Light's Courage, you can link it into what's coming up next, Wave Slash, so this enables you to have access to Wave Slash on turn 3 without having a 0-cost, or without having to wait to turn 4, so you can play a 1-cost and then Wave Slash. You get plus 300B, and then Flow, if you played another card, plus 1000B instead. And that's really the only time you want to be playing this, is if you've played another card before it. Actually, Flow doesn't actually say if you played another card this turn. It's actually supposed to say if this isn't the first card you've played this turn. Which means you can't just go Tides, Wave Slash and say that both of those are Flow, since you both played another card when they resolve. Yeah, so 1000B for 3 is great, but you're going to need a 0-cost in order to play it on turn 3, or you need to wait until turn 4 so you can play a 1-cost before it. Hurricane Winds lets you be able to play this on turn 3, which I found out to be incredibly important. Before I put Hurricane Winds in, I found that not having Wave Slash on turn 3, even though it's a 3 energy card, not having the 1000B gain on turn 3 was really detrimental, and that I really needed it. So having the Hurricane Winds in order to play a card like this, or Riptide, or additionally Light's Courage on turn 3, or even if you really want to, Super Fuel, Hurricane Winds, Wave Slash, I just felt that was an incredibly strong card, and also Wave Slash is another one of the best B boosting actions that we have. Moving on, we have our cards that we're going to be playing 2 copies of. We have Inferno Wings, which is a 3 energy Pyrus card, plus 300B. That's half of curve, but that doesn't really matter because of the other effect. Remove all enemy Bakugans remove all Bakugans enemy Bakugan hold and negate their effects. That's incredibly powerful. Going into AX, I knew that shield decks and fist decks were going to be very, very popular. And it really cripples stuff like Haos Pegatrix. It loses their fist core. They lose the bonus off the character card from that. Brings them back down to 500, and you also gain 300 off of it. Darkest Nihilus Ultra in shield decks, grabbing 2 cores. They're on 14. They're 1400B. They're 1406, and they're like, haha, I win. You can't really beat this. I can play cards after that. Okay, cool. So you got Inferno Wings, and now they're back to being a 200B Bakugan again. And they can't really do anything to come back from that unless they reroll and get 2 cores again, which isn't likely. Again, core removal really got nerfed as soon as BR came out because rerolls allowed you to just get your cores back that you lost. But being able to pick up double cores with stuff like Nihilus Ultra or Hydorus Ultra, it kind of hurts them now because they have to reroll and get that skilled double core pickup again. Or sometimes it's not even skill, sometimes it's just luck. But being able to get being able to remove their cores and get that B bonus ahead of that, it's really strong, and the only way they can come back from that is if they get if they can pick up the core that they want again. And sometimes when they play rerolls, they might miss, and that's kind of an automatic win. But you can't really rely on them missing, even though it does happen a lot. I'm sure the players there haven't really practiced rolling too much, aside from people like Jet. But even Jet missed. I've missed a lot, even though I kind of invented some sort of secret method, the perfect roll distance to land on whatever core you want every time. Even I miss doing that. I've landed on the wrong core a couple times, which I don't really want to get into. So yeah, we play 2 copies of that because while it's strong, we don't necessarily need 3 copies of it. Then our last action card is Riptide, 4 energy card, which means you can play it off Hurricane Winds. Oh yeah, you can also play Inferno Wings off Hurricane Winds, which means you're getting 600 and removing their cores for 3, and that's pretty good. So Riptide, 4 energy. So you can play it off Hurricane Winds. You must reroll your Bakugan, just like Super Fuel. If you have a reroll that's optional, you're probably going to be taking it anyway. If you open on the reroll, you get plus 500B, and you may draw 2 cards. Very important that you do not have to draw. Because something I did in the Sunday tournament, which cost me the entire thing, was I had 2 cards left in deck after I played Riptide, and then I drew those 2 last cards, and then they hit me with Quickfire, and I lost. And then we played this really absurd tiebreaker, and yeah, don't deck yourself out. Do not purposefully deck yourself out against Pyrus, at least. It's not worth it, because they can just play Quickfire, haha. Or maybe in AA, they will just, if you're rolling an Aurelus, and you have no deck, and then you roll, and they play Fang Strike off a flip, and they hit you, or they play Pyrus Serpentes, or something like that. Yeah, do not deck yourself out. And if it's Pyrus Serpentes, try and keep yourself at least 6 cards. If Serpentes gets going, though, you're kind of losing anyway. So yeah, it's a strong card. You get 500 and you draw. This is 800 off of Hurricane Winds and draw 2, so that's plus 800 and draw 2 for 3 energy. That's incredibly strong. And also it's a reroll, so you're proccing Dan and Shargo again. So if you have 2 Shargo out, that's actually if you have Hurricane Winds, Riptide, and 2 Shargo out, that's 1,000 for 3. So that's Wave Slash as well as drawing 2 cards. So yeah, and moving on to our only flip, which we play 3 copies of, we have Stand Together, which is a 4-cost flip, Haos, and it says stop non-Haos. But if you have Domination, if your Bakugan are holding the most Baku cores, you can play it for free. My stance on flips remains. The reason why flips aren't that great is because you need to be playing cards from your hand in order to win the battle, instead of saving energy so that you have a failsafe when you lose. So that is why the flips that can be played for free, think Stand Together, think Pack of Darkness, That is why those flips that can be played for free are so good, is because you can play all the cards you need from your hand during the turn in order to try and win the battle, and then if you still end up losing, you have this free card that you can play anyway. Now, of course, that can be countered by Frost Strike, which you're not really playing Frost Strike except for like Orless Trox, which are going to start playing Clone Army probably. But yeah, and another really important thing to note about the domination on this flip. The retraction step where you close your Bakugan and you put its Bakucore back, that happens at the end of the turn. It does not happen before damage happens or right as you lose the battle, which I saw a lot of people doing, and I needed to correct them on that because it costs them domination sometimes, or it prevents me from getting domination, or they just give it to me for free by them closing their Bakugan early. You do not get rid of your core if you lose until the end of the turn, which means if I lose, I still hold on to my core, which means I still might have domination. If I lose, I might still have domination by the end of the turn because I was still holding this core. You need to remember that you need to not get rid of your core until the end of the turn. I just want to nail that into your head, really, because it's something really important when it comes to Stand Together, and I noticed a lot of people were doing it, and I need to correct it a bunch. So yeah, moving forward with this deck, I think the first very important thing is we're going to be replacing Aquos Fangzor with Aquos Kubo. Aquos Kubo is a 105, which also has the Magic Shield Flaming Fist, which means we're going to be getting the third Magic Shield in this deck. But on a Magic Shield Flaming Fist, like Nobilius, it gets plus 600, which brings up to 705, which is the same B power as Nobilius, so you're getting two things that can reach 1350 on turn 1. And that's incredibly important. What that does mean that we're going to be losing Aquos Hyper Fangzor. So we're probably not going to be drawing as fast, but we are going to be playing the new Leah from Age of Orless, which says when you open a Bakugan, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, and you may reveal a hero card you find there and play it for free, and that just helps with the Turbo Heroes. Imagine just getting Leah into Dan into some other big important card. Another thing why we only play so many flips is because we don't want to hit it off of Dan. Hitting Stand Together off Dan, and if you have like 2 Dans waiting to resolve and both of them are going to end up being Stand Together, that just kind of sucks. That's one thing that Shun kind of helps with, is if you get to play Shun first, and so you can see your top deck, and if you want to play it with Dan or if you want to draw it instead. I still think Strata is better because you want to be drawing the cards as soon as possible and also having the heroes out as soon as possible because it's a cheaper card. Let's see, what else do we have moving forward? We might be playing stuff like Growing Giant, which is like Light's Courage, but just bigger numbers for a bigger energy cost. It's like 500 for 5 and then plus 1600, or maybe it's plus 800 at the start. But yeah. Overall, we're just going to be adding in stuff like Leah, stuff like Aquos Kubo. We're probably not going to play Hyper Kubo, even though it's strong, because we just don't have the space for it, honestly. I do plan on doing a deck profile for an updated version of this with AA. But for right now, I just wanted to get the BR version out that I played at AX, because this is one of the best experiences I've had playing a deck, and I really wanted to share it with you guys. I got some more videos coming up soon. More deck profiles, so hopefully more AA stuff. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Excited to finally get this deck profile out. I do plan on doing a lot more deck profiles in the future, especially AA builds, but I just really wanted to get this deck out. I loved it at AX. I will be doing some Diamond and competitive Bakugan unboxings and reviews, so stay tuned for that.